Live from Studio 9 in downtown Wenatchee, we are on the air for this Tuesday, the 23rd day of January, 2018. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz, your host. Steve Herron, the news director, our news director, your news director for that matter, to our immediate left, and Kat in control. Happy Tuesday.
You're looking good this morning, sir.
Feel good?
Yeah.
Feel good? Big day, big exciting day ahead of me.
Oh, absolutely. So what's exciting for you?
I got nothing. I got nothing. You know what I really am excited about is tomorrow, because fingers crossed, tomorrow is when they announce the inductees to the Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, and we're hoping that Edgar gets past that 75%
Wouldn't
mark
that be
and gets
great?
in. Yeah.
That would be a wonderful gesture.
I don't think he's going to make it.
That opens the floodgates for all the other designated hitters now.
Yes, it does. He would be the first real, true designated hitter to make it in. Now, there were others who were DHs quite a bit. Paul Molitor and Frank Thomas leap immediately to mind, but they also played the first half of their career in the field before they became designated hitters. You know, Edgar was pretty much a DH almost from the get-go. He played one season at third base, and then they made him a DH.
David Ortiz, I think is the
David Ortiz, that would open the door for him as well. It's going to be very, very close whether Edgar makes it in or not. They're saying he's going to be right about that 75% mark.
I hope he gets it.
There are others who are absolute shoo-ins. Chipper Jones is in. We know that for sure. So they're also doing this much later in the year. Normally, Steve, they announce the Hall of Fame inductees for each class early in January, but it's not until tomorrow for reasons unknown.
Who else is eligible?
A bunch. I don't know off the top of my head as far as the newcomers. I like to see Jim Thome get in because he was just a class act and he hit 600 home runs. The Baseball Hall of Fame is the hardest of all the sports Hall of Fames to get into. It's the toughest of them all.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, very much so. What are we talking about?
I'm hoping for Mickey Hatcher myself at Angel.
That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Also, the Academy Award nominations are out, and once again this year, you and I were shut out. Not even a nomination, Steve. Nothing.
Best performance by a non-actor, huh?
In a non-role, I guess.
Yeah.
My guest in the second half of the show will be the superintendent of the Wenatchee School District, Brian Flonis, and John McQuaig, who is part of the Capital Bond Committee. Phase 1 is in the books. They did it. They passed the bond. They built a brand new Washington Elementary School. They redid Lincoln. They did some work to the Apple Bowl, and now it's on to Phase 2. They hope that the voters approve that coming up on April 24th, and that is an extensive remodel of Wenatchee High School.
Interesting conversation coming up, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that very much so, and I even did my homework. Go figure. Steve's got a lot of news to get to. It was a busy news day yesterday.
Oh, yeah, lots of shaking going on up in Alaska.
Yeah, we didn't hear about that. They had an earthquake off the south coast of Alaska near
Kodiak Island, about 175 miles southeast of that. Yeah.
They issued briefly a tsunami warning, and then they canceled it. So, anyway, Steve will have the news. Sports, we'll get to that as well. We have Today in History, the obscure holiday, birthdays, and everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. I filled in for Mike yesterday. I did street talk and other stuff for the first time.
Yourself?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's not like this show where you have to work and prepare. It's McNally's show. I mean, if he shows up Mondays at 10, we're happy.
Freestyle.
Yeah, it was freestyle. Jamie Donegan was on. He was just a lot of fun. I love it.
You just give him a microphone and he takes over, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was great. Jamie. It was a lot of fun. Hey kids, we got snow coming our way. In fact, we have a winter weather advisory. It starts at 10 o'clock this morning and goes until 4 o'clock Wednesday morning. We're going to get some snow. We're going to give you some graphical ideas of what we're looking at here. Passes are going to get hammered a couple of feet. We have a winter weather advisory. They have a winter weather warning. That's much more serious. They even have an avalanche warning. Mountain passes are not going to be particularly fun. We'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. So you ready to go around the valley with our Valley View camera, Steve?
Let's check it out.
Let's do it. Let's take you up to the cross camera.
Gosh, I love that color blue, don't you?
It's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. We had a beautiful day yesterday, didn't we? It was one of those days where it was kind of hard to concentrate on the task at hand.
Oh, sunshine. What did the temperature get up to? 45 or something?
40, yeah, just about mid-40s, something like that. Yeah. I think 45, right about 3:30 or so.
Yeah, it felt really good.
Yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful day. And you have to grab onto those days when we get into, late January, early February. We don't normally have days like we had yesterday. It was very nice. So good morning, Wenatchee Valley. Good to see you. Let's go to number 2. That's Waterville. Yeah. So again, you can see Waterville. That little blippy lights there on the left-hand side of your screen is downtown Waterville.
Home of the Shockers.
Yep. Now, Steve, if you look a little bit to your right, closer to the center of the camera, you see that light there?
Yeah.
That's suburban Waterville.
That's suburban. Okay.
That's suburban Waterville. And then you can see, just out of the picture is downtown Douglas. You just can't quite make that out.
Are we looking down on the Badger Hill ski area now?
No, is it? What?
I don't know.
Okay. You don't ski.
No, I don't.
No. So, Let's go to camera number 3. He threw me off for a loop. Good morning, Upper Butte. That's beautiful Chelan. Or is that Lower Butte? That's Lower Butte. So
they're both buttes.
They're both buttes.
Real buttes.
It's kind of funny. Steve doesn't ski, but you do hang glide. I mean, you've gone up to the butte and thrown yourself off with a hang glider any number of times, haven't you?
Luckily, I've landed on my feet.
Good morning, Chelan. Good to have you on board. You're in for more snow than the Wenatchee Valley, by the way. Chelan can get about 4 inches of snow. We're looking at a couple anyway. And finally, camera number 4 is Omi Omai.
That's my favorite.
That's Omi Garden. You know what? That might be my favorite, too.
I think that's a nice shot.
That is a beautiful shot.
Looking down on the Otabashan Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
A light volume of traffic this morning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's still early. And besides, everybody's home drinking their coffee, having breakfast, and watching the show.
Like your guests.
Like my guests.
Yeah.
They're watching the show right now in the green room.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope they're enjoying their tea. It is 6 minutes after the hour. We're live here from Studio 8 in downtown Wenatchee. Your all-important weather forecast. Winter weather advisory is on the boards. Active weather, Steve. Active weather. Here's what it's looking like. There is your forecast. Snow today and then a rain-snow mix. Basically between the hours of about 2 to about 5, Steve, we're going to have a rain-snow mix. The snow is expected to pick up in intensity in about an hour and a half from now, about 8:30 or so. Then it's going to snow till about 2, and then the rain and the snow, we're going to get together and have a little party. And then the rain tapers off, and it will continue to snow lightly into the evening hours. Total snow accumulations, we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. But again, we have a winter weather advisory. It starts at 10 o'clock this morning, so it's not on the books yet. At 10 o'clock this morning, it kicks in, and it will go until 4 o'clock on Wednesday. The snow level, just about 1,500 feet. So like we had a couple of weeks ago, remember when Payneborn got 5-6 inches, but the valley floor only got a couple? That could very much happen again. There you go. That's what you're looking at for snow totals, Steve. And if you look at that little thing that says Wenatchee, they're going to err on the side of caution, about 3 inches to 5 inches, give or take a couple. Plain's going to get a lot of snow. Look what's going on up north. Look at Winthrop and Omak in that area. Quite a bit of snow.
Can you say dump?
Yeah, lots of snow coming down in that area. Of all the areas that you see there, obviously the basin's not going to get much snow at all. And we're only going to, 3 inches is doable. It's not going to stick around very long because guess what the high is tomorrow? 40.
Wow, yeah.
So it goes just like that. And so again, snow 8:30 till about 2, and then a rain snow mix from 2 to about 5, and then back to the snow. Total accumulation, 3 inches possible, depending on where you call home. Rain snow mix tapers off tonight, about an additional half-inch possible tonight, Steve. Wednesday, lots of clouds, no rain, no snow, and a high of 39 on Wednesday. If we get anything coming out of the sky tomorrow, Steve, it will be in the form of rain. Wednesday night's overnight low of about 25 degrees, very little snow expected. No real snow on Thursday, high of about 38 degrees, and then partly sunny and 38 on Friday. Again, these temperatures are above normal for this time of year. So, again, winter weather advisory remains in effect. It will begin anyway at 10 o'clock this morning, goes until 4 o'clock on Wednesday morning. That's us. You ready to go up to the passes?
Let's check the passes.
They have a winter storm warning in effect, and that's on right now, and it's going to go all the way through Wednesday afternoon. They're going to be measuring it in feet. There are your passes right now on I-90, Snoqualmie Pass.
Because now is your window of opportunity, huh?
I would go now. I would absolutely go now. I-90 is no problem. Roadway's bare and wet. You'll find some fog here and there. No advisories, no restrictions on Snoqualmie Pass. To Stevens we go. They do have a traction tire advisory. Not currently snowing on Stevens Pass. In fact, I see quite a bit of asphalt there, Steve. Traction tires are advised on Stevens, Blewett Pass. No advisories, no restrictions, clear skies up above. Everyone is in love. However, things are going to change. Heavy snow is in the forecast. Look at those snow accumulations for the mountain passes, Steve. That's a lot. They are Leavenworth, Stevens Pass. They are very confident they're going to get at least 7 inches of snow. When you get up to the summit of Stevens, you're talking maybe a foot of snow possible. That's just today. Just today, 7 to 11 inches possible in the Cascades. And you add in tonight's snowfall, 6 to 10 inches on top of today's. And then on Wednesday, about 2 to 4 inches possible, most of that coming down in the morning. By Wednesday, noonish or so, the snow is going to start tapering off in the mountain passes.
I would think that DOT might be preparing us for some possible avalanche conditions or avalanche control work up on US 2.
It's funny you bring that up because they have an avalanche warning as well. An avalanche warning. When you get that much snow on top of snow on top of snow, something's got to give. So there is an avalanche warning in addition to the winter storm warning for the mountain passes. 2,000 feet is the magic number. 2,000 and above, it's going to snow all day today. It will not switch over to rain. Below 2,000 feet, it's going to be mostly snow with a little bit of rain. 1,500 feet and below, a rain-snow mix, especially in the afternoon. So the passes are not going to be very fun. That's as simple as that. 10 minutes after the hour, we are live here at Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee. Thanks for starting your Tuesday with us here on the NCW Live channel. I'm going to take a quick 1-minute break, and the gentleman to my left does what he does so well, the news with Steve Harris. 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
It's happening now at Wenatchee Valley Mall. PetSmart has come to town and they're throwing a great event. 3 great events to be exact. Stop by January 20th starting at 9 a.m. and enter to win prizes, coupons, and free services. Join Pet Perks and be entered to win a $250 PetSmart prize package. PetSmart has just what you need with hundreds of exclusive products for your specific pet needs. And leashed pets are always welcome at PetSmart, so stay tuned for all the PetSmart grand opening events.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
Here we go on a Tuesday for NCW Live News. I'm Steve Hare. Here's what's happening around the Northwest. Governor Jay Inslee has appointed Robert B.C. McSeveny to the Chelan County Superior Court bench. He replaces Judge Chip Small, who's retiring at the end of this month after serving for more than 26 years. Also, McSeveny is currently a pro tem judge in Chelan and Okanogan County District Courts. For more than 17 years, he served as a municipal court judge in Kent. Over 9 of those years, he also acted as a pro tem judge in King County Superior Court. He began his career in law enforcement as a police officer in Bellevue, where he later served as the city's deputy prosecuting attorney, an assistant city attorney, and a public defender. McSeveny received his law degree from the University of Puget Sound and a bachelor's degree from Seattle University. His appointment becomes effective February of this year. Also, a woman who helped steal nearly 400 pieces of mail in Moses Lake will spend more than 4 years in prison, while a warrant has been issued for her co-defendant after she failed to appear in court. The person Strong will spend about 4.5 years in prison. The charges stem from 3 arrests in November. The first arrest occurred after she broke into a car and stole a woman's purse. On November 15th, Strong was arrested after stealing 395 pieces of mail from more than 100 addresses in the Moses Lake area. Steele was also arrested in connection to the mail theft. 6 days later, Strong was arrested again, this time for trying to sell stolen watches on Facebook. A bench warrant has been issued for Steele, 29-year-old Jessica Steele. She's charged with possession of stolen mail in connection to her November arrest. Steele failed to appear in court for arraignment on Wednesday of last week. Chelan County Public Works has been investigating complaints from area drivers who have found a mysterious tar-like substance on their vehicles after traveling up to Mission Ridge. Public Works staff has also seen this on their personal vehicles as well. Last week, county road crews began investigating the reports and found a fine granulated asphalt material on the roadway, again on Mission Ridge Road, which was chip sealed this past summer. But crews have not yet found a clear cause of the problem. The tar-like material appears to get deposited on the vehicles much like any sand or winter road grime when the roadway is wet. Public Works crews determined that the substance can be cleaned from vehicles using cold water, and the county warns that people should not use hot water or any hot application to try and remove that substance. Public Works say they're continuing to investigate the cause behind the problem, and they're looking for a solution. Also, in a tongue-in-cheek comment, Chelan Mayor Mike Cooney said, "We're trying to build a bridge, not a wall." Cooney referencing the aging Wooden Avenue Bridge that leads into the city of Chelan that is now in need of repair. Cooney said the bridge was originally built in 1927 and was constructed to handle smaller people and smaller cars than what we see today.
is we don't want to stop flow of people coming into town to do business downtown. But it is a large cut through for people going out to the North Shore, going out to Manson, going out to Chelan Hills. It is a gigantic, if you stand on that corner and tabulate the number of people that take a left-hand turn and then take another left turn at safe way to go out on the North Shore, the numbers are incredible. And so what we're looking at is to make the pedestrian walkway across that bridge. We're looking at going on the up lake side 4 feet to 8 feet, and then 4 feet on the down lake side to 5 feet. And there's a reason for that. There's more people on the up lake side standing there doing selfies, and we just feel it'll be great. Probably the biggest thing that most people don't get on one-waying, we had to restore the bridge. We looked at about 5 different iterations of fixing that bridge and making it safer. This kept the iconic look of that old bridge. It's on almost every poster that you would see in about Chelan. So it keeps its look. It increases the safety of it, but one of the biggest things that I see is the entrance into town will be so much better.
Again, that's Mayor Mike Cooney from the town of Chelan. Now, the total cost of that Wooden Avenue Bridge reconstruction project is around $1 million, paid for by the city, the Historic Downtown Chelan Association Gateway Project, and a grant from the State Department of Transportation. Also in the news today, the coming of the new year means changes for businesses large and small in the state of Washington. Certified public accountant Pete Lucchini of Cordell Neer & Company says many of the new laws kicked in January 1st.
So there's a couple different leave laws that have recently taken place. There's the new mandatory paid sick leave law that came about when they increased the minimum wage. So there's a new minimum wage as of January 1st this year to $11.50 an hour, and then with that came a paid sick leave policy. So for every 40 hours worked, and non-exempt employee gets 1 hour of paid leave. So that equates to about 1 minute and 30 seconds for every hour worked, or about, I think, 12 days a year.
Now, Lucchini said that the family leave law will not start until next year.
Employees and employers will both pay into this. Employees will pay, I believe, 60% of the premium. It's going to be funded kind of like an L&I tax on their wages, so it's based on how much they work. And then the employer will pay 40%. However, if an employer has fewer than 50 employees, they can opt out of paying that tax. So you'll still pay it on your wages, but not on the employer side. And so what happens is they'll start collecting that in January of 2019, collect it from everybody, and then the benefits are going to be eligible for people starting in 2020.
Now, Lucchini also adds that the new laws will definitely have an impact on small business.
Well, you know, I'm a small business owner myself, and I have a perspective on this that may be a little influenced. And I work for a lot of small business clients, and you know, we have some concerns about ultimately the cost and perhaps some abuses maybe, but you know, really it's just overall an additional tax that hits all of our bottom lines substantially.
Lucchini recommends business owners stay in touch with their accountants and or bookkeepers on those new laws. Tax Tips with Cordell Neer & Company is coming in February during our Let's Learn feature with Eric Granstrom serving as host on NCW Life Channel. Also, there were some anxious moments overnight for residents of southeast Alaska after a 7.9 earthquake triggered a tsunami advisory. The quake struck at around 1:30 this morning. It was epicentered about 175 miles southeast of Kodiak Island. A tsunami watch was issued shortly after that, but it's since been canceled, fortunately. Officials with the city of Kodiak went live on Facebook earlier this morning with that announcement.
Hey, good morning. I'm the Emergency Services Director, Mike Twangy. At approximately 12:30 this morning, we received an earthquake of 7.9 magnitude, 175 miles southeast of Kodiak, 12 miles deep. And approximately 1 a.m. we activated the tsunami warning sirens, told people to evacuate from low-lying areas, which they did, orderly, appreciate that. We continue to monitor the activity reports from the National Tsunami Warning Center throughout the evening. And as you'll see, we've kept track of the reports, and we had our harbor officer and harbor master down at St. Paul Harbor monitoring the water levels as they rose and receded. And at 4:13 this morning, we received the notice that the tsunami advisory has been canceled. So that came from the Tsunami Warning Center. So I want to thank everyone for orderly evacuation downtown. I also want to remind everyone to return back home safely. Watch for traffic as the whole town is active right now. Mayor, would you like to say anything?
Well, we just want to thank everyone in Kodiak, and especially the command center here and everyone who participated, the City of Kodiak staff, Kodiak Island Borough, and we're very grateful that there wasn't a tsunami of any kind of magnitude. And it's important that you drive safely home. School has been canceled for tomorrow. Check with your local employer to check and see if your operations are still intact. But I'm very grateful for the command center staff that we have here. They did an excellent job. Again, we're very grateful that there was no major tsunami. We live in a very prone earthquake and tsunami area. And it's a beautiful place, but that's what you have when you live in paradise. So drive safely home, and thank you, Kodiak, for participating and evacuating safely.
Obviously breathing a little easier on the island of Kodiak this morning in southeast Alaska, which is, again, as the mayor mentioned, very prone to that type of earthquake. But there were no reports of any damage or injuries from a 7.9 magnitude earthquake.
That's a big shaker.
That is a huge shaker.
That's a big shaker indeed. 22 minutes after the hour. It has been so long since we visited with the Chelan County Board of Commissioners, they're not even going to recognize you.
I know.
It's been like a month.
Yeah, about that.
I mean, they had their, after they passed their budget and they went to the holidays, it's a quiet time for them anyway. And then we were scheduled to meet with, we meet with them every other week, and Steve sits down and talks about the issues affecting the residents of Chelan County. And then, of course, you were a little under the weather, so we didn't do it a couple weeks ago. So finally, on this 23rd day of January, you're going to head back and talk to the boys again.
Yeah, we'll have that for you at 5 o'clock on our NCW Live Evening News with Grant Olson.
It's at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. 3 big fat chances to watch. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock right here on the NCW Live channel. You can also watch it on demand. Late in the afternoon, early in the evening is about the time we get that posted. And you can do that by going to our website at ncwlife.com. And while you're there, get a hold of us, Steve.
Yeah. If you see news happening, always keep this number very handy. 888-NCWL. That's 888-6295. Our news hotline. You can also contact us on Facebook, on Twitter, or on our email address at news@ncwlife.com.
Here's what I like to do. I take a Sharpie and I write the phone number backwards on my forehead.
Yeah,
and then every time I look in the mirror, I have a reminder to give them a call in case I got a news tip. So that's what I would do if I were you.
That's what Dan would do.
It's 23 minutes after the hour. Don't forget, in the second half of this program, we're going to have a fascinating conversation with Brian Flonis, the superintendent of the Wenatchee School District, and with Mr. John McQuaig, who is one of the committee members for Capital Bond Phase Number 2. A new and improved Wenatchee High School. We'll talk about that in the second half of the show. Plus, everyone is entitled to Mike Minardi's opinion. In 1 minute, we'll get you caught up with everything from the ever-widening world of sports. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live from Studio 3 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Live channel.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Live News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on Local Tel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on
Where
Facebook.
we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
My name's Robert Duff. Current and previous occupation is architect, engineer, and lawyer. Grew up here in Washington, born in Moses Lake. When I first came to CVCH, was looking for a place to get some dental work done. And I was really impressed with the people at the counter. I mean, they were just on top of it. It only took her like 15 minutes to do the job. I didn't feel anything. The technology is so great, you don't even realize you're at the dentist. These people are so professional. I would have any one of these people in my home for dinner. These people are family.
25 minutes after the hour, we have some clouds and some fog and 29 degrees. It's a beautiful morning, but get ready for some snow. 3 inches possible on the valley floor. Once you get to that 1,500-foot level and upper than that, you can get upwards of 5 or 6 inches. We do have a winter weather advisory for the Wenatchee Valley and a winter storm warning for 2,000 feet and above. Heads up, the white stuff is coming. All right, let's do sports. We'll start things out by looking at our sports broadcast schedule for the week on the NCW Live channel. It begins tonight. We got wrestling as Wenatchee hosts Eastmont. This was a match from back in December. That's when Eric, I can't believe it, went camping in the middle of January. Grandstrom teamed up with his dad, Dave, on a very special broadcast.
And this is the thrill for me because we've done a little radio wrestling before, back in the day on KPQ with the state tournament in Tacoma. But I get a chance to get you on TV today, Dad.
Wonderful.
Talk about your background for those folks who don't know about you as far as a longtime coach, longtime official here in the state of Washington.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, my career started in the 60s, not the 1860s, the 1960s. However, for most, that probably is about the same. And I coached at Cedar Woolley in one of the more famous programs in the state of Washington. I was the junior high, not middle school, but 7th, 8th, and 9th grade coach there. Under the head coaching auspices of a man named Spud Wally, who's in the Hall of Fame for the wrestling coaches in the state.
Definitely check that out. That starts tonight at 7 right here on the NCW Live channel. Then Thursday night is hockey night beginning at 7. Call of the Wild in Clarkie's Corner, and we're going to follow that by the Wild's overtime thriller against Victoria from last Friday. On Friday night, Eastmont will host West Valley Big Night Basketball, the girls at 5:30. The boys following that, Eric and Grant Olson. We'll have the call right here on the NCW Live channel. All right, this is happening today in the area. In the world of prep sports, it begins with the District 6 Girls Bowling Championships at Eastmont Lanes today. It starts at 12:30. Eastmont will host Wenatchee, Eisenhower, and Moses Lake as the Wildcats try to repeat as district champions. The district champion team advances to state. On the mats tonight, Omak is the site of a double duel between the Pioneers, Cascade, Cashmere, and Okanagan. I hope their mat is big enough. That's at 6 o'clock tonight. Eastmont is at Eisenhower at 7 o'clock. Wenatchee wrestles at West Valley, also starting at 7. High school basketball. In girls play, Chelan is at Okanagan. Cascade will host Omak. That's at 5:45. At 6 o'clock, Cascade Christian and Moses Lake Christian. Bridgeport travels to Waterville, Mansfield, and Manson's on the road at Brewster. The boys basketball schedule looks pretty much the same. Cascade and Chelan have 7:15 start times. The rest play at 7:30. Washington State University has a brand new athletic director. His name is Patrick Chun. The Seattle Times reports that Mr. Chun will become the 14th athletic director in the history of Washington State University. Of course, Bill Moose left to become the AD at Nebraska back in October. According to the Seattle Times, Chun is the first Asian American athletic director to lead a Power 5 school. This announcement was supposed to be last Wednesday, but the tragic death of Tyler Helinski, they decided to hold off on that news conference until today. The news conference is at 11 o'clock in Pullman. And the Seahawks have another player added to the Pro Bowl. Everybody loves the Pro Bowl. A defensive end, Michael Bennett, was added Monday. He's going to be an injury replacement for Minnesota's Everson Griffin. So there are 6 Seahawks on the roster, but only 3 are expected to play: Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, and now Bennett. The Pro Bowl is at noon Sunday on ESPN. Set your DVR. 28 minutes after the hour, almost 29 minutes after the hour. Let's do the obscure holiday for this 23rd day of January. John Hancock was born on this day, the man who signed the Declaration of Independence, the first person to sign it. And so that makes today National Handwriting Day. Handwriting has completely, if not totally, fallen off the face of the earth because beginning in the 80s, when typewriters became much more affordable and then word processors and finally computers, handwriting has declined further and further and further to the point where good handwriting is in danger of disappearing altogether. And I'm as guilty as that as anybody. In 3rd grade, when they taught you cursive writing, my cursive writing was immaculate. The teacher, Mrs. Miller, would go around and say, "Now look at what Danny Kuntz did. Look at his cursive writing. It's very well done." Needless to say, I was teased on the playground mercilessly. And now I can't read my own handwriting. Handwriting needs to come back. Handwriting needs to come back in any number of ways. Handwritten letters have sparked love affairs, declared revolutions, started wars, ended wars. It's also an art form. Today is National Handwriting Day, so put aside the word processor and the computer and write by hand today, if you still know how to do it. 30 minutes after the hour, today in history, on this 23rd day of January. We talked about the earthquake up in Alaska. 462 years ago, the biggest earthquake, the deadliest earthquake in history occurred. It's known as the Beijing earthquake in the Shanxi province of China. 540 square miles destroyed. Estimated death toll of this earthquake, 830,000 people perished in this earthquake, which happened on January 23rd, 1556. The deadliest earthquake in history happened on the state 462 years ago. Today is the birthday of the 24th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, which meant no more poll taxes. That's right. In the Deep South, right up until 1964, if you wanted to vote, you paid for it. You paid a poll tax. You got to be kidding me. The 24th Amendment said no more poll taxes. Well, 86 that, and that was only for federal elections. And then a couple of years later, the Supreme Court said it applies to all elections. The poll tax went out of fashion on the state 54 years ago today. Can you even imagine that? Of course, the idea behind the poll tax is to keep people who they didn't want to vote to vote. It worked too. And 32 years ago today, the first class into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was inducted at the Waldorf Astoria in New York City. All the living members were there. Little Richard, Chuck Berry, James Brown, Ray Charles, Fats Domino, the Everly Brothers, and Jerry Lee Lewis. Of course, 3 members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's very first class were not there. Elvis Presley, Sam Cooke, and the great Buddy Holly. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducts its very first class on this date 32 years ago. Can you imagine the party they had after that get-together? 32 minutes after the hour, birthdays. To get to, I mentioned the Supreme Court and the poll tax. One of my favorite justices was born in the state, Potter Stewart. Potter Stewart was born in the state in 1915, passed away at the age of 70 in 1985. He was a very good judge, very learned man, kind of walked that center line between the liberal wing and the conservative wing. He was very well respected by his colleagues. He will always be known for his opinion, his writing in Jacob Ellis v. Ohio regarding hardcore pornography, when he famously said, "I know it when I see it." Potter Stewart, who was so much better than that one line. It's too bad he's remembered for that, because he was a great justice. Potter Stewart, born in the state in 1915. And Jerry, why is he not in the Hall of Fame? Kramer is 82 years old today. Now, he has a chance, because next week they will vote on the Hall of Fame class of 2018. Jerry Kramer, 5-time All-Pro, was on the NFL's 50th anniversary team in 1969. He's been a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame 10 times and has never been inducted. He was rated #1 on NFL Network's top 10 list of players not in the Hall of Fame. He may make it in this year. My memory of Jerry Kramer was the great book Instant Replay, one of the very first sports books I ever read. Jerry Kramer, legendary right guard for the Green Bay Packers, is 82 years old today. All right, 33 minutes after the hour. Everyone is entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. That's right around the corner. And then Brian Flonis and John McQuaig will be joining me. We're talking the $120 million bond that is up for election on April 24th to renovate and remodel Wenatchee High School. That will be the topic at hand. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Dr. Ron Singleton. See how Ideal Protein can help you.
I started Ideal Protein about 10 months ago. I'm down 123 pounds and a little over 50 inches.
Using Ideal Protein, I've lost 37 pounds in just 10 weeks.
I lost over 52 pounds in 4.5 months on Ideal Protein.
This has been a wonderful journey. The food is great and it's a very easy program to follow.
This medically designed program has repeatable, safe, and effective results. Call us today to schedule your weight loss consultation.
Alone, it can be hard to reach our dreams. It can feel like you aren't welcome anywhere. When no one's there to clap. Taking on the world by yourself. But when we come together, when we lend a helping hand, when we set the stage, when you support causes you care about in your community, lives are changed. You make a difference in someone's life when you give. Imagine the impact if everyone in our community gave 10%. 10% makes a difference.
SkillSource specializes in assessing and guiding youth, adults, and laid-off workers who want to improve their skills. Here you can attend in-depth workshops to assess skills and interests, make career plans, and learn computer basics.
Learning centers provide eligible youth and adults individualized computer-assisted basic education. Vocational training is arranged with approved providers like community colleges or on the job with businesses.
Don't wait any longer. Let's get working on the future you've been dreaming about.
Hi, I'm Cordell Schroeder, owner of East Wenatchee Mobile Storage.
If you're thinking about making a move anytime soon, check out the East Wenatchee Mini Storage brand new mobile storage service. They drop it off at your location, you pack it, and they pick it up and store it in their protected warehouse at East Wenatchee for as long as you need. When you're ready, they'll drop it off at your new home or office. East Wenatchee Mini Storage is excited to offer this brand new service to our region.
Call 509-884-8643 or find us on the web at ewministorage.com.
Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, serving all of North Central Washington. We make it our priority to learn all about your financial needs. Whether you're buying your first home, refinancing, or want a reverse mortgage, our mortgage professionals are ready to guide you through the loan process. We have a wide variety of loan products to fit your family's needs. Call Bay Equity Home Loans of Wenatchee today for your pre-approval. 509-888-0466.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, have you noticed that drug advertisements on TV, if you watch these things, you know, they might as well say something like this. This drug might help you, but it might make you worse. It might give you diarrhea. It might give you rashes. It might make you vomit. It might make you depressed, or it might make you suicidal. Sure, it might help, but it might kill you too. Oh, by the way, you can't take this drug while you're drinking, and don't take it if you're allergic to it. Go, Big Pharma! How are you gonna know you're allergic to it? I don't know. Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing. We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing honey blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Hi, this is Carl.
And Kathy from East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet. We are excited to be a part of this wonderful community and look forward to meeting you at East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet.
Our store is filled with name brand products at bargain prices at 40 to 60% savings. We have a large selection of natural, organic, and specialty foods.
Stop by and meet Carl, the wine guy, on Wednesday.
East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet, where you can win what you saved. Stop by soon.
So, how you guys doing?
My job starts in Portland in a month.
Can we find a buyer that fast? I think we're good. Our CBX app tells us who the best potential buyers are. We can pinpoint where the hottest prospects are located, right on this map.
2 cities over.
It even lets us set the most accurate price. Wow, it really does all that. It really does all that.
Will help us pack?
We're working on that.
Hi, I'm Blair from Works, your workout prescription. Have you ever started an exercise program and struggled to keep it going? So what if I told you that with this MyZone device, I could increase your chances of self-motivated exercise adherence by over 200%. Combine that with an exercise prescription specifically for your level of readiness, we'll increase it even more, and that's our new member success system. It's $99, it's exclusively at Works, it includes your MyZone belt. Works, yourworkoutrx.com.
We're back just about 40 minutes after the hour on this Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Speaking of Tuesday, on Tuesday, April 24th, voters in the Wenatchee School District will be going to the polls to vote on, in many respects, the future of Wenatchee High School. It's a $120 million bond. It is phase 2 of a capital bond campaign that's been going on for quite some time. And here to talk about it is the superintendent of the Wenatchee School District, Brian Flonis, is on my far left, and a member of the Capital Bond Committee, John McQuaig, to my immediate left. Gentlemen, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you. Thanks for
We've
having
got
us.
a lot to talk about.
Yes,
Let's jump right in. But before we go anywhere, Brian, last Tuesday at the school board meeting, you kind of got a surprise.
I did. Yes.
Talk about that.
Well, it's called the GEM Award, and it's an award that we have in our school district to honor our employees, who are going the extra mile. And this time I got it. I got the GEM Award, and it was also contributed by our great community members there who work with our school district and have been supporting our school district for years. And it was a big surprise, and I was very honored. I didn't know it was coming.
That's kind of cool.
No. I saw these people show up to me and I'm going, what is going on around here?
And I think John's wearing the same tie.
Yeah, I think I am. Oh, well.
Not sure about that.
I'm going to get another tie.
We have a lot to talk about. Where do you get into the nuts and bolts about how much is this going to cost me? We have pie charts and all those good things. But let's and I'm not going to sandbag anybody. I'm for this. I am 100% for this. I want it to pass. I like to see my alma mater get better. People talk about the old Wenatchee High School, which lasted for 60 years. Well, the new Wenatchee High School isn't new anymore. It's 44 years old.
Yes,
it's time. It's time. I know they did some remodeling and some renovations in the 90s.
In the 90s,
and then the most extensive one, I believe, was about 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, we did added some new space, with the new commons in the front area of the high school with the office and the parking lot. But in the 90s, we did some retrofitting to try to take the existing square footage inside the building and put some more classrooms in there because we were having that growth at Wenatchee High School. And so that's kind of where we're at today, is that we've utilized all the spaces we can inside, but it's really a lot of cubicle classrooms, that have no windows, and the learning environments, it's served us well, but it's time to address the needs that we have at Wenatchee.
And they're small. They're way too small, a lot of these classrooms.
Yeah, a lot of them are too small. Standard high school classrooms, 900 square feet. A lot of these classrooms are about 750 square feet. So that's kind of like an elementary classroom, or even a lot of our elementary classrooms are bigger than that right now.
I've spent quite a bit of time at Wenatchee High School over the last couple of years, and they have put classrooms in places where classrooms were never intended to be put in, just to handle the influx of students.
Yes, and so we have that, and then we also have, about 8 or 9 portables outside on campus as well.
And I hate portables.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. So let's look to the future. Hopefully, in say 7, 8 years, this is what the campus of Wenatchee High School will look like. That is looking south on what could be a brand new campus. Tell us what we're looking at there, Brian and John.
Well, that's the front of the high school, and as you see, what we tried to show here is the new music green room area on the left by the auditorium, and then the 3-story new 157,000 square foot construction in the back to try to see what the symmetry was. So we're thinking, well, how tall is it going to be? But it's going to be about the same height as the auditorium. So it gives you a view that it's not going to be this huge skyscraper sticking out of the sky.
And for the record, if this $120 million bond passes, the balloons that you saw are not included.
That's right.
That was just a nice little artistic touch.
Those are extra.
Those are extra. This is familiar to anybody who's been at the intersection of Miller and Millardale, the main area to Wenatchee High School. This gives you a pretty good idea of that new music wing you were talking about, Brian.
Yes.
Yeah.
And go ahead, John.
And that's a pretty exciting part, because we've got a mariachi program that has I think 250 students in it, and of course in 1974 there was no mariachi program, and so they really have no place. They're kind of squeezed in with band. We've got a lot of good music stuff going on, and so that gives them a space as well as a green room for for actors when they're with the productions that are going on, which we don't have any of that kind of space either. So everything's kind of gotten squeezed out.
And it's not just what Ramon's doing, but Mr. Kovac and the Golden Apple Band.
Golden Apple Band, our
phenomenal.
jazz band, our choir. I mean, we have incredible performing arts, orchestra, and so more space for all of those, modernization of those areas. And then also, that green room will be a great asset to our, our performing arts and for our community as well, for using the facility.
And again, the last time I was at Wenatchee High School in the music department, they have storage cabinets in the hallways to store instruments in because they just don't have any room.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not going to get any better as long as the music department is going great guns.
Let's throw up long needed component right there.
Let's throw up another slide, and that is another view of what we were just talking about. No, that's actually, I'm sorry, that's
the cafeteria.
That's the new cafeteria. Okay.
Yeah, commons area cafeteria. That's actually going to be where the existing wing is on the east side of the building, which would be language arts, social studies, English, that area. That area is going to be taken out, and then we're going to be putting in a big commons and cafeteria and a nice plaza outside.
There is a plaza in the middle, a commons area, an outdoor one in the middle of the school now. And when I was in high school, we never went out there. It was just a waste of. It's too bad. They're using it more and more now, but
they are, yeah.
So, next slide. What are we looking at, John and Brian?
They're looking at the 3-story wing that'd be added. That's really a lot of the remodel and is add new space there, and so that's all classroom space. 3 stories, windows, lots of light, lots of openness. The other thing that this would be designed to do is to help facilitate project-based learning, which is an exciting thing to be able to actually, provide space for that. So, hopefully we're looking at a design that will incorporate the way that educational models are moving and, take care of them for the next 30, 40 years is what we're looking for.
It's funny, when they built and opened the new Wenatchee High School back in 1972, the big thing was no windows, which it gave it kind of an institutional look.
Yes,
but the idea is kids stare out big windows and they don't pay any attention. But now windows are coming back. There's another, and again, you see the blimp up there, not part of the bond.
Not part of the bond.
I graduated from Wenatchee High School the year before this. The
you
new
were part of the
school
last
opened,
class of the original high school, sure.
Yeah, and I think we did just stare out the windows, frankly. So this will give students an opportunity to stare out the windows again and look at Saddle Rock and so forth.
It's a beautiful rendering, and I'm very excited about getting the word out and getting this bond passed. This is phase 2. The first phase went just fine. You went out there, you pressed it, and people, the voters of the Wenatchee School District understood the need. I went to Washington Elementary School. We needed a new one. We got a new one. It's beautiful. Lincoln has been extensively remodeled. We have one of the finest facilities for sporting events in the state in the remodeled Apple Bowl.
Yes.
I love it when people come into town and go to the Apple Bowl and say, this is just beautiful. You have a beautiful field turf and the new LED lights and everything like that.
Yeah,
so the voters,
rooms.
the voters have stepped up to the plate in many, many respects.
They really have, and those were big needs that had been on our capital project plan for over 10 years. And the ability to get that done, and the community supported that with a 68% passage rate, and that was the biggest bond at the time that we've ever run in the district at $66.5 million. But the project came out great, and we came in under budget, and we're actually carrying $3 to $4 million over for this project from that project. But
in fact, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna throw up some charts and let people know what we're looking at as far as money-wise and all that other stuff. As Brian said, they had some money left over in the bank. That's always a nice thing. So April 24th is a day you want to circle on your calendar. When we come back, we'll talk more about construction phase 2 with the Wenatchee School District, John McQuaig and Brian Flonis. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Productions is proud to bring to the NCW Life channel the Concerts in the Gardens Summer Series held at Omi Gardens. The series features performances from Rare Earth's Peter Rivera, Heart by Heart, Too Slim and the Tail Draggers, The Infinity Project, the Wenatchee Swingin' Big Band, and a whole host of other great acts. Tune in Wednesdays at 1:30 and 7 p.m. and Fridays and Saturdays at 10:30 a.m. and 9 p.m. RLS Productions Concerts in the Gardens Summer Series, only on the NCW Life channel.
Winter weather has arrived in the Wenatchee Valley, and it's no fun to be stuck outside in the cold, and your dog or cat don't appreciate it either. Paws and Claws Veterinarian Hospital would like to remind you that your pet is susceptible to hypothermia and frostbite just like you. After going outside, wipe off their paws to prevent them from licking de-icer or antifreeze. Dr. Shauna Bayes and her staff care about your pets. If your pet needs medical attention, call 888-PAWS or find them on 4th and Nile in East Wenatchee.
Hi, Brent Crowder here at Town Nissan. We've got exciting news for you. The all-new 2018 all-electric Leaf with 50% more range, lower price, and a car you don't have to wait for 3 years to get. This is the electric car you've all been waiting for. Come down and check one out at Town Nissan behind Costco.
NCW Life Channel, your home for local news, local weather, local sports, and local shows featuring local people covering local topics like Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, Let's Learn, Street Talk and Other Stuff, the 12th District, Life with Lisa, and Arbiter of Stoke. NCW Life Channel, your local TV station.
Wake everybody up.
51 minutes after the hour. John and Brian and I were joking during the commercial break. John McQuaig and Brian Flonis is joining me. We're talking about the capital bond phase number 2 for the Wenatchee School District. Phase 1 is in the books, as we just discussed. Phase 2 is a $120 million remodel of Wenatchee High School, which, as we mentioned before, is now 44 years old. From an infrastructure standpoint, it's doing okay. But Brian, off camera, we were talking about at any one time during a school day at Wenatchee High School, there's 2,000 people in that building. That's a lot.
Yeah, well, actually, there's about 1,900 head count, 1,950 students.
And then you add staff and teachers.
Yeah, when you add all the staff and teachers, you've got that many people in the building. Students, on average, right now, with students that are going to Running Start and the Skills Center in Westside High School, we probably have about little under 1,800 on any given day that are actually attending as students. And so, when we looked at this proposal, we came back after we got community input. We came back and we redesigned it with the 3-story wing for 1,900 students, which we feel is going to be plenty of room and space for a long time. It'll serve our community well, because our enrollment trends don't show that we're going to be up over 1,900.
Is this going to kind of level off and maybe even drop a little bit?
It's already leveling off. You know, we've gone down about 125 to 135 students at the high school in the last 2 years. Our enrollment is actually starting to level off, but there is growth in the community, but whether that growth equates to more kids is still kind of the question, because our enrollment trends have been pretty stable for the last 12 to 15 years.
But it's still one of the 10 largest high schools in the state of Washington. It's a big school.
It's a big school. Yes, it is. And, this project, the great thing about this project is we're putting in over 150,000 square feet of new space, but also another 57,000 additional square feet of space for students. And so it's going to be a building that's going to be very comfortable.
John, when your 20-person committee started getting together quite some time ago, you went through all the various options: build a second school and split them up, which is what Moses Lake is doing, or change the grade structure. There are all kinds of different options that were available that your committee studied and studied hard, and this is what you came up with. Talk about that process.
Sure. Well, actually, it's been going on longer than that, because the overall plan was set probably 8-10 years ago, when we decided to do the elementaries first, then look at the high school, and there was a secondary school study that was done at that time. And so as we moved forward, the last 18 months, we looked at actually about 16 different options. And so those included, you know, putting a 9th grade campus over at Pioneer and building another middle school. They included building another comprehensive high school. They included maybe a 600 student STEAM academy. We looked at the federal building. We looked at, I mean, every option that came up, we looked at and ran numbers on and looked at, you know, how it would be programmatically. You know, you can look at the numbers, but you can also look at kind of programmatically what's it going to do, and ultimately came to the conclusion that this was not only what we could afford, but it also was an excellent choice from a programmatic standpoint. Even if you look at a second high school, you still got to deal with Wenatchee High School because it is still 45 years old, right? So you know, the costs range from a low of probably this 120 million to 300 million. They went, you know, they really start escalating. You start building new facilities, and so this ended up being really the most reasonable and the one that really, from a programmatic standpoint, fit.
45 years old, how's the HVAC holding up and electrical and all that stuff that is part of the original construction? Is that starting to show its age?
It is, and that's one of the big concerns is that it's close to the end of their, what they call it the end of their useful life.
Yeah.
And that's where they're getting because, you know, the power, the electrical, the HVAC, those systems and components are getting old enough now that it's hard to get new parts and you have to try to change out complete units, and so they are in desperate need. In our kitchen, you know, the equipment in the kitchen is 40 years old and it needs to be replaced as well. So there's a lot of, the infrastructure is really a big component of this.
A big part too is security.
Oh, yeah.
You know, of course, 45 years ago, security wasn't a big concern, and you had door everywhere.
It was
you
an
come
open
in and
campus,
go
yep.
wherever
Oh,
you
yeah.
wanted. Now, you know, campuses are much more controlled, and really the security in that building is not what it should be for this day and age.
Nuts and bolts, Joe Q taxpayer is now putting on his hat. What's this going to cost me? Brian and John, take a look at that. This is your estimated tax increase. This is, Brian, what are we looking at here?
Well, we're looking at the assessed property value. So if you look at that, right now I think it's about $300,000 is on average the assessed value of a home in Wenatchee. So for the $1.17 increase per thousand of our assessed value for this $120 million bond, it would be $351 for somebody who had a house that was assessed at $300,000 or $29.25 a month.
So $30 a month per taxpayer for that's a steal to me.
Yeah.
That's a great deal. I'm on board. Next slide, please. And this is this is good because this will dispel a lot of myths and misconceptions.
Yeah.
Brian, explain this, please.
Okay, so this is the comparison of our bond tax rate over the years, and so you can see back in 2004, 2005, our tax rate was up at around $2.56 or $2.48 per thousand for the capital construction bonds that we did. That's back when we remodeled Pioneer, Sunny Slope, and Orchard. And so that's what our community paid at that time. Then when you get to about 2008, 2009, we retired some building debt, and then we had that recession in our community, and we decided not to run a bond for about 7 or 8 years because of that recession. You can see that the tax rate went back down, and it went back up to 149 when we passed the bond, the phase 1 bond that we just completed with Washington and Lincoln and Pioneer. And so you can see right now we're at about 131. And with the 117, we're going to go back up to 247. So we've been there before. And then, as you know, the debt capacity for Foothills and Newberry, which were built in 1994, that's going to be going away in 2022-23. So the 247 will be there for a while, but it's going to go down over time.
We have about a minute and a half left. John McQuaig, you are the lead pitchman in all this. You have you've toted that flag as high as anybody. How goes the selling part of this when you're out and about trying to convince the voters of Wenatchee School District that something needs to be done?
Well, I think first of all, people recognize that this is the need. You know, there's the high school has been put off for a long time, and we've gotten other projects taken care of, and now it's the high school. And it's not inexpensive. It's not inexpensive to build. It's not going to get any cheaper in the future. You know, interest rates are low now. It's a good opportunity to continue to take advantage of lower interest rates. Construction costs are probably not going down in the future. And so we've got to bite the bullet and do it at some point. And so you look at it and say, well, so why would I do this? Well, for the future, you know, and for the students that are out there. And if you've got kids that are in, you know, kindergarten and so forth, they're going to benefit from this. So it's going to be exciting. The whole community will benefit. And Wenatchee High School affects the entire community.
In many respects.
Yeah.
And take it from somebody who went to Wenatchee High School when it was new, as part of the 10th class to graduate from the Wenatchee High School that currently exists. You get a better education when you're in a new facility with a new or extensively remodeled facility. There's no question in my mind it improved. It made my education better than if I was going to a high school that was built in 1912.
Yeah, and I'm guessing in those days you didn't have quite as much technology involved and other things that we can take advantage of. So our mantra is vote yes WHS.
Oh, I like that.
Pull out your Panther pride and vote yes WHS. So
I'm all for that.
We're excited to move it forward, and we're excited to put it in front of the voters, and we're happy to answer questions. There's a lot of people that are involved in our committee, and we're excited to answer questions, make sure people understand, and get out and vote for it.
I'd love to have you on the show one more time to talk about this as we get closer to April 24th. All right?
We'd love to be here.
All
yeah,
right.
Thank you so much,
John,
Dan.
Brian, it's good to see you. You know what?
Thanks,
We're
Dan.
out of time. But I don't know if people noticed that Brian was an outstanding wrestler in high school. You won a couple of state championships, right?
I did, yeah, too.
I was gonna.
Yeah.
We were going to pull the table out, and I was going to say maybe best 2 out of 3 falls right here on the show, Brian. And John could officiate, but we're just out of time.
We're out of time.
We're just out of time. Everybody have a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.